Hey everybody, you know power, the type of thing that people think they have until they don't and stuff like that? Well, today we're going to talk about that because civilizational collapse has often been framed as a natural consequence of systemic inertia or resource limits, but complexity science and social psychology suggest that this overlooks human agency, conveniently anyway. So there's a guy named Tainter, Tainter. He wrote a theory of the collapse of complex societies, defining collapse as when societies hit diminishing returns on complexity, which he says is problem solving costs rising faster than the benefits. So he puts himself above the average person with ability to make a choice and says, yeah, we better manage that. For example, Tainter notes that as social complexity, such as in his view roads, bureaucracy, and technology, increase. I don't know if that's social complexity, dude. I think complexity is like when roads, river deltas are, not compared. River deltas are not like roads. Roads have people who made them. River deltas are natural and such things. Okay, so his flawed view says that societies allocate more resources to administration, reaching a point where investment in socio political complexity often reaches a point of declining marginal returns. Well, that's a convenient way of saying, like, we want people to collapse, or we're going to allow that, or something. He likens escalating complexity. Oh, that's a cute way to say created. He created some conditions whereupon challenges are mounting, old orders become unstable and collapse, he says, making way for a new self organized order. And I don't know why, that is the case, but he says such a thing. This analogy treats collapse as a natural phase shift, akin to a river delta forming or a computer network saturating, rather than the outcome of specific decisions which allowed for that. Critics argue Tainter conflates complexity with mere complicatedness and assumes progress always goes from simplicity to complexity. In his view, more complex societies are always more fragile, but as others note, reality increased complexity like over throughout time, markets or network, and like it simplifies problem solving and requires human learning to exploit such a thing. So people have to learn this in order to comprehend what he's doing, which is pretty nefarious. Tainter's analogies, including treating social networks like natural flows or neural networks, risk erasing the fact that these structures are built and maintained by people. His model is not very faithful to real new organizations, like the way actual cities, states, markets, or digital networks would emerge. In short, by focusing on structural returns on complexity, his theory minimizes the role of conscious agents who build, adapt, and abandon institutions, implicitly treating collapse as inevitable and running with the extraction possibility that they made. So basically, in order to stop that from happening, we have to realize that complex adaptive systems theory offers a real alternative, actually scientific lens that centers the thing. So, like, unlike a rigid machine, a complex adaptive system is comprised of agents interacting under simple rules, producing unpredictable global behavior, or increasingly more complex, not unpredictable. For example, a flock of birds emerges from each bird following rules like, let's, fly in a coordinated pattern, yet no single bird controls which shape it is. In such systems, connections are critical, but individual agents are not, in his view. so that simple rules result in complex and adaptive responses, which is just proof that, consciousness may be something bigger than what we're told. Maybe it's not just in our heads. Crucially, agents have a degree of freedom. Each person has a, choice within environmental constraints to do what they would like, until someone like Tainter comes along and says that, we don't. So this contrasts with hierarchical deterministic models where every part is different and the connection is fixed. In complex adaptive systems, a global system behavior emerges from decentralized cooperation among people. But, people will exploit such a thing and use it to gain money off of those who don't understand such. So, like, the production, he equates complexity with, like, manufacturing line logic, such as global system behavior emerging is what he calls, like, Henry Ford making the production line. I don't think it's honest to equate the two. It's very devious and such a very not nice thing to do. Importantly as well, real social systems embody distributed cognition, which allows them to function properly. Group intelligence spans across people, tools, and environment, with knowledge and decisions being shared among. That's what, families used to be, until people like Tainter thought they could just subvert that. In complex societies, information is spread out and only partially at the individual level, so people who lie all the time can pretty much get away with it. So thus, each actor operates with incomplete data, myopia, but collectively they create situational awareness, which is sort of a lie in itself. But the global system behavior emerges from the cooperation among individual agents, each one contributing with its knowledge and skills, and decisions are made in a decentralized manner. So, in other words, complex systems must be agency aware, and models and architecture should account for each person's perception, action loops, so that learning and local adaptation are possible, which is a very bizarre thing to have to say, because he's skewed what complexity is very well. But, by just saying that, like, somebody's creation, which caused the collapse of a society, is the same as, a neural network's function or something like that. But it's not. And so the consequences of ignoring agency are grievous. When models omit agents, they treat collapse as mechanically determined. Predictive power is lost because human-driven searching cannot foresee the simple calculus of resources. Tainter's own modern-era prediction illustrates this. He asserts that because all states were filled by complex societies, collapse would be global or non-existent. So in essence, no single nation could fail without triggering all the rest. Yet within a year, the Soviet Union collapsed on its own, proving that collapse can be abrupt and localized, which is kind of good, I suppose. In hindsight, Tainter's modeling removed agency, like, for example, choices by Gorbachev, the population, international pressures like money systems, and assumed determinism strictly. The result was a false sense of inevitability. If collapse is assumed inexorable once certain thresholds are hit, planners may give up on interventions.